And are you able to hear it now?
No, I think it has to do with sharing computer audio.
Go ahead and just give me a minute. I'm sorry, if you can just bear with us. I'm gonna go ahead and allow the show to play. We'll try to set up the audio as it is playing though.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so while you're working on that video, I'll go ahead, or the sound, I'll go ahead and give a little information about Leadership West Fresno. First of all, I'm Latricia Ashley. I'm the Senior Advisor for Leadership West Fresno. I'm also an original student. We've been around for 30 plus years, and we started with a group of students. I believe we had 18 students, all because one student said she wanted to go to Spelman College and she wanted to go visit. So her mom got together with a group of ladies from her church, as well as a group of women from cities, which is a community involvement team from Pacific Vale at the time. And they got together and they planned a tour. So it was originally 18 students involved, and we toured, and we hope to continue to tour, but we've been involved with college night since the beginning, and we hope to keep this going and continue. We do have a program. There's no GPA requirement. You just have to be willing and ready to attend college or want to attend college. And we do everything we can, from helping you build your portfolio to helping you apply for colleges as well as scholarships.
And just wondering, before we get into the presentation a little, do we have any questions, comments, or concerns? I do see Eric Payne has arrived, and I welcome you. I thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right. And just give me 1 second while I pull this up here. And I did also want to go ahead and introduce myself. I am Kyrie Cleveland. I'm a West Fresno native. I actually was a participant within the Leadership with Fresno program as well. To give a little more of a background about myself, I went to Edison Bethune Elementary from kindergarten to third, from fourth all the way to sixth. I went to Gibson. So I kind of got used to catching that bus early in the morning, going to the other side of town. I found myself in middle school at Computech Middle School over here in West Fresno. And then after I moved on to Edison High School, where I graduated in 2014. I graduated from Edison High School in 2014 and moved from Fresno, California, all the way to Fairfield, Alabama. Fairfield, Alabama is where I received my bachelor's degree in business management. And throughout my time within the higher education system, I found myself within many leadership roles, as far as serving in SGA for 2 years, the Student Government Association, being the vice president and the president of my fraternity chapter, working with our NPHC at Miles College, and also working with our recruitment team as well. While my time there at Miles College, honestly, I can say it was a time that truly cultivated me, and just, I ain't gonna say it made me, but it did save me as far as putting myself on a path of trying to better my future and making sure that I have other options that individuals in where I came from in Fresno certainly or sometimes don't have. So that was just kind of just a little bit about myself. And in Leadership West Fresno, we are focused on developing our students and our youth. And I did kind of want to make this a little more interactive. I know everyone isn't going to be able to introduce themselves, but if possible, if you can, let me see. I believe the chat is disabled. Is that correct, TJ?
Yeah, the chat's disabled, but if they want to post in the Q&A box, they can post, where they're from and stuff like that. It'll work the same.
Okay, great. All right, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, if you can just kind of say what high school you're representing, where you're from, classification. If you can kind of just leave that within the Q&A, just so we kind of can have a feel of who's all here joining us on this call. Okay. All right. And hello, and just kind of put a face with the voice. And so, like I was saying, if you are here and you're a student, just please, or even just a spectator, just a participant here, please leave your name, where you representing as far as high school and classification if you can. All right, it looks like I have one here. It looks like I have an Adam representing Carruthers High School. All right. Welcome, Adam. Thank you for having you here. Anyone else possibly in the call? Maybe I'll catch you later on. But we do thank you for joining, and Adam, we do thank you for being here with us. Everyone else, if you possibly can, just drop your name so we know who's joining us. Okay, looks like we have another one here. Hi, my name is Nikayla. I'm the 10th grade and I attend Edison High School. Okay, that is my alma mater. Hello, welcome. Nice to have you here. If you guys have any questions about HBCUs, please go ahead and drop them along in the chat here. All right. And so it looks like we have those individuals here. Once again, I thank you for joining us. And I'll go ahead and kind of just move on into the PowerPoint I have here set up. It's just a quick little PowerPoint here, just to kind of give you something to read while I talk and to give you just a little more understanding of why you're all here. All right, let me see if I share my screen again. Okay, let's see, can you all see my screen? All right. And everyone can see the PowerPoint here?
Looking good.
All right, thank you. So higher education at HBCUs, leadership with Fresno here at Fresno County College Night. I'm your main presenter here at Kyrie Cleveland, and once again, I welcome you all for joining us. Okay. All right, so what is an HBCU? Historically Black colleges, also known as HBCUs, were established to cater the educational needs of Blacks in America. Before the Civil War, there was no structured higher education system for Black students, and public policy and statutory provisions prohibited the education of Blacks in various parts of the nation. The Institute for Colored Youth was the first higher education institute for Blacks and was founded in Cheney, Pennsylvania in 1837. It was followed by two other Black institutions, Lincoln University in Pennsylvania in 1854 and Wilberforce University in Ohio, 1856. As you can see here, I kind of have just a image here, or a meme as the youth would like to call them, of I love my HBCU. And these are a lot of schools and some of their logos that they have here. As you can see, you have Alabama State University, North Carolina A&T, Howard, you have Payne, you have Morehouse, you have Fisk in Tennessee, you have Grambling, you have Fort Valley State. You have plenty of schools, just to kind of show you how many schools there actually are. I was wondering, does anyone actually know how many HBCUs there are in the US? You can kind of leave your answer in the Q&A if you like. I'll give you just about 30 seconds, a minute, kind of find that answer or figure it out, or take a guess if you like. Let's see, I have a guess here of 107. All right, that's pretty close. It's not too bad. Well, I'll go ahead and say I do thank you for that answer. And like I said, that actually isn't a bad guess at all. There is actually 102 HBCUs in total. Some you may know or see here. Like I said, you have Clark Atlanta, you have Florida A&M, Howard University, North Carolina A&T, you have Tuskegee, you have Kentucky State University, and one that you all may actually not know about, there is actually an HBCU west of Texas and Oklahoma. And that HBCU is actually called Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. It is actually located in Los Angeles, California. It is not only recognized as an HBCU, but is also a member of the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, and is now the second most diverse college of its kind in the entire country. It's a health and science university that strives to build prominent health leaders in the community who have passion for social justice. As you can see here, I'm sorry for the image being kind of blurry. Like I said, there are 102 HBCUs in total that cover 19 states, the District of Columbia, and the US Virgin Islands. Alabama is the state who has the most HBCUs with a total of 14. Some of those being the well-known colleges such as Tuskegee University, Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University, and Alabama State University. Some of those smaller schools in the state of Alabama happen to be Oakwood University, Miles College, Stillman College, and Talladega. As you can see here, there's most of the HBCUs are in the South and are in the eastern region of the US. You have some of the most prestige and more well-known HBCUs here in Washington, DC, which is Howard, and also in Virginia, that Hampton University. If any of you ever got an opportunity to kind of watch Drumline, I don't know if that movie still plays on MTV or if people still watch that movie. But North Carolina A&T is kind of what that movie was kind of based around. You also have Fisk University, which is in Tennessee. And then you have Spelman College, Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, and which is all kind of in that AUC area. There's a lot of schools within that area, and there's also Morris Brown as well. Morris Brown is actually making its way back as far as being a accredited institution as well. Do we have any questions or comments at the time? I'll go ahead and step down. All right. And it looks like Adam found that answer. I don't know if it was after I said it or while I was talking, but or right before me, but it looks like you found that answer. Yeah, so there is 102 HBCUs, and they actually cater to about 300, a little under 300,000 students. So as you can see, spread out throughout the 19 states and the districts and within the Virgin Islands, the campuses don't necessarily cater to a huge population compared to about the 20 million individuals in higher education. So, excuse me, sorry, just a little thirsty. But so the school is kind of really family oriented, and you have an opportunity to really create a very strong bond, whether it's to faculty or whether it's to your student peers as well. Oh, man, give me 1 second. So why HBCUs? Cost. HBCUs typically are on the cheaper end when it comes to tuition and fees, room and board. As far as some of the more prestige HBCUs ranging from around $45,000 for $45K for your full term, as far as 4 years to 6 years within the program, compared to about 75 to 80,000 possibly for Cal and Cal State schools. The culture, as far as focusing on their African American students and their minority students and those coming from marginalized areas, they strive off of culture. And they, like I said, they create an environment where you can truly be yourself, and you can be comfortable as well. And they hold a lot of culture when it comes to, as far as the history behind the schools. HBCUs have been around 150 plus years, tending to many African Americans, producing the most African American doctors, lawyers, social workers, and more. HBCUs tend to kind of really cultivate, which is the next word is cultivation, which, like I said earlier, Miles College didn't necessarily, the school that I went to didn't make me, but it definitely molded me and it definitely saved me as far as pushing me on a path, as far as finding more of my purpose within this world and more of my passion and understanding my purpose and who I am. As far as being a African-American male trying to maneuver my way through higher education, which is somewhere that African-American males are not necessarily, I guess you would say, doing the best or having the best outcome or striving towards or moving forward within. So HBCU kind of came to a place where I was able to be more comfortable. I was able to be molded into a individual that is an advocate for my community and for social justice, and an advocate for education within unexposed neighborhoods. And as far as unexposed neighborhoods, those neighborhoods that are impoverished and those neighborhoods that don't receive the resources that are needed to kind of prepare individuals of color for higher education, as far as California state schools or universities or the other schools that are pushed within the Fresno Unified. So HBCUs is another reason why I just kind of wanted to speak about who they are, where they are, what they represent, and how they could possibly benefit you and those around you. Just because of the simple fact that we want to, as far as leadership, we want to spread the awareness of HBCUs and let you know that you do have multiple options as far as moving forward with your education. Certain institutions within the area are pushed to us, and other institutions aren't necessarily promoted to us. And such as, even if we want to go to traditional schools that aren't HBCUs, you have Duke University, which is in North Carolina. You have Auburn, or University of Alabama, like Roll Tide. Like I went to Miles College in Alabama. I got an opportunity to go to an Alabama football game, which was extremely amazing. It gave me a different type of understanding of the way of life in a different region, in a different state. So that's also another reason why you want to look into maybe other options as far when it comes to higher education. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, or if anyone has any questions. Let me check the box. Or maybe if Miss Ashley, do you have anything you would like to say at the moment? Okay, just making sure. All right, and so I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving forward. There are no questions at the moment. But like I said, it really just created an environment that I wasn't necessarily exposed to. And I'm sorry. All right. Thought I heard something there, but no problem. So like I said, just why HBCUs, like I said, this is just kind of a session that really just wants to raise the awareness and to promote other options as far as higher learning for Fresno Unified students. So when it comes to why HBCUs, the cost, it is something that will most likely benefit you. When it comes down to the cost, there are a lot of programs that offer scholarships. There are a lot of grants that are also available for individuals that go to HBCUs, and just for individuals that are Black or colored that are looking to move forward within higher education. The culture, it gives you an experience that you won't necessarily get out here in Fresno, California, no matter what you go to, just because of the region and the area that you'll be in. It's a different culture, it's a different class, it's just a different way of life. When you kind of take yourself out of position of what you're used to, that comfort zone, which is here at home. And so it kind of exposes you to other opportunities and other ways of life. That cultivation project, as far as what I can say, I'll kind of give my testimony here. To really just be blunt, I necessarily didn't have the GPA, I guess, to go to any California state school or to go to a Cal University. But HBCUs like Miles College, open enrollment HBCU, a private institution as well, kind of gave me the chance to pursue my dreams of higher education, and also worked with me along the process as far as preparing me for the work field or preparing me what is after college life itself. You may, as students looking to go to high school, and okay, I have a link here that was dropped in the chat, and hopefully you all can see it. But
I'll forward it on.
thank you. And so kind of just like I said, just wanted to expose you to some of the opportunities that it can prepare you for, and it can get you ready for, and also expose you to, and just like I said, give you a chance that you possibly didn't have. I don't know if I'm speaking to anyone in the chat or in the room here, or whoever may see this recording, but if you're having a counsel that says no one will accept you, there's nowhere for you, you won't fit in, whatever it may be, just know there is somewhere for you. Whether it's a HBCU, whether it's a traditional school, whether it's a Cal school, there is somewhere that you can fit in and find your way within higher learning and moving forward with your education. Regardless of where you are now and where you think your capabilities may lead you to. When you're in an environment where it's really truly family oriented, where you have courses, HBCUs tend to be from small end to a large end, but kind of a lot of them are mid-sized. So your courses max, you could have maybe 20, 30 people in your classroom, compared to other institutions where you may have 100+ individuals in that classroom, where you're not necessarily a name or a person, but you're more just a number. and just another degree that's supposed to be pushed through the program. This is somewhere that, like I said, we'll actually go ahead and take you in as who you are and make sure that they'll meet you where you're at so they can figure out where you want to go and how they can get you there. And HBCUs are a great opportunity, whether you are Black or not. There are a majority of HBCUs that actually aren't predominantly Black. You have some institutions, I believe actually Kentucky State University is one that is not predominantly Black, or you have Tennessee State University in Nashville, which is one as well, that aren't predominantly Black institutions. Or you also have Charles R. Drew, the HBCU in California, which is actually not predominantly Black as well, and the only HBCU to the west of Oklahoma and Texas. So that was kind of just like a small snippet of what HBCUs are and what this program plans to introduce you to and prepare you for. We have some guest speakers here as well that will have the opportunity to actually give testimonies of their experience and who they are and their background, and, you know, growing up in the Central Valley and making that move to the other side of the country. It's not an easy journey. Going to college isn't easy, but making that move to another region where it's not just a drive, but it's a flight, maybe a couple flights, will mold you to become just a more mature individual and a stronger individual as well, mentally and spiritually. So I'll go ahead and start with, it looks like in order from, it looks like top down, I have Aja. If you could possibly give just a little feedback, 1 to 5 minutes of, you know, your time spent at Tuskegee, a school that I kind of wanted to go to, but it didn't go to. But, you know, kind of, you know, really give your feedback and just tell some of the individuals here about your time there and how it was. And also don't forget, you know, what high school you went to and maybe what you're doing now.
Thank you, Dakari. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on. My name is Aja Cruz. I am a graduate, class of 2008 from Edison High School, Tigers for Life. And I'm also a graduate from the illustrious Tuskegee University, which are Golden Tigers. So I'm definitely a Tiger for life. So just to chime in a little bit to some of the things you shared, an HBCU experience. How can I sum that up really quickly? So an HBCU experience is like none other. I'd say personally for myself, my HBCU experience was life-changing. Definitely molded me into the woman that I am today. I think with having 2 older sisters who actually graduated from Spelman College, that was always my destiny for my higher education, to go to college or predominantly historically Black college. Those were my priorities. Fresno State is also a great college, but it was not on my radar. My goal was to get out of Fresno, to get away from home. But I think also having 2 older sisters ahead of me kind of set me on that path to greatness, to kind of having an idea of what to do, what to expect. But they were together when they went to school. So they're twins. So myself, I had to leave by myself, and it was not easy at all. I can tell you my first year, I was sitting in front of Sage Hall on the phone with my mom crying, like I'm so homesick, like I'm ready to come home. But I stuck it out. Overall, I had to learn really quickly to be more assertive. I was still just a quiet, you know, pretty shy girl from California, moving all the way to Alabama and not really knowing anyone, not understanding half of the people that I'm talking to. It was definitely challenging in the beginning. But overall, I had to think of the greater good, you know, like all of the history that's instilled from Tuskegee and remembering where I came from, being surrounded by my people and that family, close-knit community feeling. It was just different. It was just something that I ended up embracing once I was able to get a car and be able to, you know, make means and go around for myself, I became more comfortable. But right away, I had to be more assertive. And I learned with the HBCU that you can't just come in, go to class, do your work and leave. Like, you have to talk, you have to know. It's all about networking. It's all about who you know at a HBCU. You have to have that relationship with your professors. You have to get to know people, your groups, your peers, everyone around campus. And with Tuskegee being such a small, private institution, gated institution, everyone knew everyone. And so I think that was also a plus with the family knit feeling of everyone knowing everyone knowing everyone's car. They spot you out, you know, and see you wherever you go throughout the town, throughout the city, not only just on campus, but throughout the city. You know, people recognize you, people know you. And I think that's just a great feeling, you know, in itself, just, you know, being at school, but knowing everyone. And it's really that Southern hospitality is real. Everyone's, hey, how you doing? Speaking, and as you pass by. And that's just a feeling that I grew to love. I promise I didn't want to come back home, but I had to, you know, be closer to my family. And then I was actually grateful. Like, I think about it every day. I'm blessed now to be able to come home and work in my own community and work with my people and use my knowledge that I did learn in school right here in Southwest Fresno. So thank you again, Dakari, for having me. I didn't know if you had any specific questions or anything you wanted me to touch on, but life-changing experience. TU, if you know anybody that went to Tuskegee, you know that they are diehard and they love their university from top to bottom. You can't tell us anything about it. I know you went to Miles, Dakari, and I said, that's our little rival, you know, not too far down the street, but it's all love for Miles, all love for ASU, all love for you too, Mr. Payne, A&M. I see you back there with the backdrop. But yes, thank you all for having me.
No, thank you for coming, truly, thank you. And as you all can see on the call, it's kind of, even if you didn't go to the same HBCU, it's still a family. We all still feel that love, and we still appreciate those individuals that kind of went through the same journey as us, and kind of understand the HBCU atmosphere. Next, I'll go ahead and kind of move over to, let me see if I got it in order. I'll move over to Kyrie. Is that fine if you can go now?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
So, good evening. It's 8 where I'm at. My name is Kyrie Brown. I am a Edison High School graduate, class of 2014, Edison Tigers. I attended Lincoln University of Missouri. We are the Blue Tigers, so I'm a Tiger for life as well. I majored in criminal justice. Currently, I am working on my master's degree. I attend Bowling Green State University in Ohio. I'm working on my master's of science in criminal justice. Just to touch base of how I got affiliated with HBCUs, my mentor, Dr. Gloria Ponce Rodriguez, she completed so many different HBCU tours for, you know, students in high school, students for Fresno Unified School District. So that's kind of how I got affiliated. I used to want to go to Morehouse. Morehouse was like my top #1 school. I didn't find out of my university until my senior year at the Black College Expo in LA. And so going to that Black Expo, I received a presidential scholarship on the spot. I got accepted on the spot. And so a few weeks later, me and my mom, we flew out to Missouri and visited campus, and I just fell in love immediately. Lincoln University is one of the smaller HBCUs. So a lot of times I had that one-on-one connection and interaction with my professors. That's one of the things that I enjoyed and loved, because for me, I like being able to ask professors questions, being able to connect with them on their office hours, being able to utilize their time outside of the classroom, because I was just that student who required much more time to learn and grasp, you know, the concept of whatever class I was taking. Overall, attending the HBCU, you have the family-oriented atmosphere. You have people who look like you. You have people who want you to succeed, and you have people who are going to support you regardless. I was that kid away from California. Luckily, in my situation, there was a few more students from California that were there around the same time I was. So we sort of connected together and, you know, hung out and everything. But it's definitely a struggle at first, but with HBCUs being that family oriented, you'll fit right in. You'll have a support system who will look out for you. You'll have mentors, professors, staff members who will, look out for you, make sure that you're good and taken care of. Throughout my college experience, with attending an HBCU, I've had the opportunities of traveling. I studied abroad in Cape Town, South Africa, my junior year. So I lived abroad for about a little over 3 months. I had the opportunity to travel to different states, college fairs, just to give back and just to help recruit students to Lincoln University. And so overall, I would say HBCUs is definitely worth it. A lot of times they're not talked about in the schools. I remember when I was in Edison, one of my counselors was like, you need to apply for Fresno State, Fresno City, have a backup plan. And that's cool and all, but a lot of counselors at the time didn't know or weren't familiar with HBCUs and things like that. So at that time, it was a bit hard for me and for others in my class, but I'm not sure how it is now, but I'm sure it's gotten much better and such. But HBCUs is it. HBCUs have so many resources and there's so much money out there. There's people that are out there wanting to provide scholarships and such for our kids back at home. So it's just all about knowing your resources and doing the research out there. So like I said, HBCUs are where it's at. So I think that is it. That's all I have.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. That was great. And thank you for sharing your experience, truly. And that's amazing. I didn't know you went to Africa, man. That's cool, bro. Real talk.
Thank you.
Yeah. And also, good luck in your studies on your master's.
Appreciate it.
Oh yeah. I'll go ahead and move on to Eric Payne.
All right. Hey, my name is Eric Payne. I am so excited to be here to speak to you all today. So feel free to engage in the chat section. I appreciate you, Dakari, for reaching out to me to participate on the panel today with this illustrious group of young leaders who are doing great things in their respective communities and representing their institutions with pride. I am a two-time alumnus of the illustrious Alabama A&M University in Normal, Alabama, where we turn normal hills into extraordinary mountains as we live by the life motto of service is sovereignty. Founded in May 1st, 1875, we are a land-grant institution that is publicly funded. We have a student population of around 10,000 students between undergrad and graduate programs. And you can major in anything from physics, mathematics, early childhood education. What makes us unique is the A&M in Alabama A&M. We have a number of agricultural programs that look for students of color to major in, like forestry, food science. We offer undergraduate, a master's, and a PhD in food science, among other programs. I myself majored in biology with a minor in business administration and chemistry, and an emphasis in pre-med. And then my master's degree was an MS in microbiology. And so I am one of what they say, the few young men of color who majored in the STEM field, because they say that's where we are most often underrepresented. And so I wanted to ensure that there was representation in those spaces and in those places. I'm really, I want to speak to some of the affordability, because I had an opportunity when I graduated from Washington Union High School to attend UC Davis and UC San Diego. And so even looking at college affordability was one of my biggest drivers in selecting my institution of higher education. And Alabama A&M offered at that time one of the most affordable degree programs. And so with that, they are still really affordable relative to what I would have been paying with in-state tuition. And they offered a number of scholarships. I went on, if you're familiar with the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, I was a member in high school. I was an officer, and I received their national scholarship that said, we'll pay for you to go to an institution of higher ed as long as you major in something STEM related. And so I did. And I was a soccer player in high school, and they had a soccer program. And so I was really afforded a unique opportunity to continue my education with selecting Alabama A&M University. And there is not a day that goes by that I regret choosing an HBCU, because I did not grow up. I think for me, one of the biggest things was, I was afforded an opportunity to go on a college tour with Leadership West Fresno, with Miss Ashley and others. And I really was an eye-opening experience to see a lot of folks that looked like me that were really represented success in every area of their life. I'd never been to an institution or that had so many professors and administrators that looked like me. And so that was really exciting. I think one of the unique drivers is it prepared me, for my life of public service. I was elected to the State Center Community College District Board for 2 terms, and that's Fresno City College, Reedley College, Oakhurst Community College, Madera Community College, and Clovis Community College. They are the largest higher ed provider in the region, with a student population of over 56,000 students. And one of the things that I'm probably, of the many that I'm proud of, one that really sticks out is my work to really give students that are on this Zoom call and others an opportunity to attend an HBCU as a transfer student. There is a matriculation agreement with a number of with 22 HBCUs across the country with the California Community College System that will give you an opportunity to transfer. And if you look in the comments, I shared with you the HBCU Common app, and that gives you access to 65 historical Black colleges and universities across the country with one application. And so it's going to be up to you to do your own research on the things that you think are important, whether it's a college affordability, whether it's the male to female ratio at a college, whether it's the size of the institution, or whether it's the degree program. You're going to have options, and it's going to be up to you to make that decision and that choice. One thing that I will say is Alabama A&M University is welcoming to all cultures. We have a broad spectrum of representatives from across the globe, with international programs that we offer for students to go to Mexico, to go to Spain and learn, to go to Africa. There are a number of partnerships, and there are a number of scholarship opportunities available to non-African American students. And so that's also a vehicle for you to get your education fully covered. And so with that, I'm going to stop my comments there. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them in the chat. And feel free to reach out to me. I'll also drop my email in the chat. And also consider institutions that have a serious focus on the Fresno County region, like St. Augustine University. Right now, they're offering free tuition for first year and second year students, fully covered with room and board. We just sent a delegation from the Fresno area, and we sent about close to 15 students from Fresno to St. Augustine. And they have programs like public health, the business administration. But I think the most important thing that you can remember and take away from this conversation is that your education will be fully covered. All right, so thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, truly. And I'm currently at your alma mater, so I'll put that AAMU behind me soon. Just give me some
Yes.
time.
Yes, and I want to give a shout out to Prairie View on the line and Lincoln University, and some major love to Tuskegee, TU. And I appreciate everything that you're doing in the community, Dakari. Thank you, and keep striving and keep succeeding.